Greetings, I'm Dr. Max Gomez at the 5th International Vatican Conference, and I am here with Jo Ann Jenkins, the CEO of AARP, who's going to tell us a little bit about aging with dignity. Jo Ann, let's start though first with, if we can, we all attend a lot of different conferences, of course, and they tend to be often relatively focused on a disease, an organ, or a particular topic or issue. What do you feel is the value and what's different about this kind of conference, the Vatican conference, for example?
Well, I think one of the things that I found that's most interesting is it really is looking at the health disparities across a whole spectrum of areas, and I think that's so important, particularly at this day and time, as you know, we're hopefully coming off of the end of a year in which COVID-19 has become front and center, and I think COVID has brought to the forefront many disparities that we just talked about, but for the first time, many people experienced them personally. And it wasn't just low-income people who were experiencing this. This was an entire raft of not only age diversity, but health disparities, as well as social and economic diversities to be able to do this. And what I like about this conference is it's taking into account the perspectives of so many people from around the world. And I think that's very key. You know, I often talk about the social determinants of health, that 60% of our health outcomes are based on the choices we make each and every day about what we eat and how we exercise, 20% on the healthcare we receive, and 20% on our DNA. And so we really do have an opportunity to change our health outcomes by how we handle our own bodies and how we treat our own selves. And so I think this gives us an opportunity to look at this in a very holistic way. And so I'm so glad to be able to participate, even virtually.
And we're glad you're part of that. Yeah, as you said, I've heard a number of experts in public health say, tell me your zip code and I'll tell you your health outcome, which is really, that's just not right. But anyway, let's move on to, I know that at AARP, you believe that everyone should be empowered to choose how they live as they age, right? So can you give me maybe 3 things that would empower people to do that regardless of age, race, religion, income, and so forth?
Sure. And I will just add, based on our previous question, that where I live, the life expectancy is 11 years longer than where I work in Washington, D.C. So it's not just in some remote place that this is happening. This is happening to us in all of our communities. I often think about the 3 areas that we need to focus on is, first around health security. How can we make sure that we have available to us, not just accessible health care, but health care that is quality health care and that it's affordable to be able to do that. And so that means that we need to work with our employers and our healthcare systems to make sure that the quality of health that we're receiving for ourselves and our families is there and it's available and that they can afford it. Also, I would say around financial resilience, or, if in fact we're going to live healthier, longer lives with meaning and purpose, how do we make sure that we don't outlive our financial means? How do we not just depend on Social Security, but also think about our pensions and our own personal savings, because that's part of the 3-legged stool that we all need to have in place to make sure that we've planned to live in our 80s and 90s, and that we're making sure that we're financially secure and that we're not leaving that burden to our family members who are left behind. And then the one that I think is the most in our control is, how do we address those issues of personal fulfillment, so that we're not lonely, that we're not isolated. We know that someone who is lonely or isolated is more than 4 times likely to have adverse health outcomes. And so it's important for all of us to make sure that we stay connected. We've been able to do that virtually during COVID, but the importance of having person-to-person human contact is so important for how we live healthier lives. And I think we have to keep that. So my shorthand for that is health, wealth, and self. How do we keep those things focused and at the forefront of our daily decisions that we make in our own personal lives?
I like that. Health, wealth, and self.
Yep.
Very good. Jo Ann Jenkins, thank you so much for your insights. And as we live longer, everybody says that's a good thing, but it's only a good thing if we can keep some of these things in mind, and we can all age healthily, wealthily, and selfily. Thank
Okay, great. Thank you.
you. Thank you for your time.